The Philadelphia 76ers, one of the most unpredictable teams heading into the upcoming season because first off, you have to trust the health of Joel Embiid. That's not good. You got to trust the health of Paul George. That's not good. However, did you guys see the recent post from the Sixers? A 6-second workout video from Embiid, and my goodness, he's looking skinny. And if somehow he can stay healthy, I'm sure they can make noise in the Eastern Conference. And this is a big thing for me because last season, the Sixers organization and Embiid clearly were not seeing eye to eye. It resulted in Joel Embiid being mentally checked out right away. He was showing up late to meetings, getting called out by Maxey. It's safe to say pretty much everything went wrong for the Sixers last season until they landed that lottery pick, which got them VJ Edgecombe. Their big three, every single one of them underperformed in some way. Maxey was a shell of himself to begin the year offensively without the presence of Joel Embiid. He shot a career low 43% from the field and really didn't get going until the middle and end of the year. Paul George was a mess in pretty much every aspect outside of defense, and Joel Embiid for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, was a negative in terms of impact on the floor. And physically, he just looked broken down, like his body couldn't take it anymore. He struggled to get up and down the court. He struggled to gather in rebounds. He struggled getting elevation off the ground when he was going for layups. Despite all of that, the big three still showed some capability at one point during this season. From December 8th to January 4th, Joel Embiid supplied a nice winning stretch for the team and their signature win coming on Christmas against the Boston Celtics. And during this random winning stretch, you could squint and see the old Joel Embiid. He was averaging 26 points efficiently while being an impactful player again. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. He got banged up again, wasn't the same. He rehabbed for a month, came back in February. The team was losing, and also he was very inconsistent on a night-to-night basis. So if you want to have hope as a Sixers fan, you can say that they got the bad version of the big three, had the worst injury luck possible, and still, they showcased some potential. During that winning stretch, they played 186 minutes together, were a plus 26, plus 6.4 net rating, 111.1 offensive rating, and 104.7 defensive rating. Their defense was locking teams up. And over the entire season, despite being a losing team, the three-man lineup of Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Maxey actually played even basketball. The problem is they were terrible offensively, 110.5 offensive rating, but you would think if you get a better version of Joel Embiid and Paul George, the offense will naturally improve. On top of that, the team next season should just be in a way better place. The Sixers were rolling out lineups in the middle of the season with Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson on the floor. Yes, that was actually happening. Eric Gordon was getting minutes. On top of the star players being inconsistent, one of their biggest signings in the offseason, Caleb Martin, was pretty much a dud offensively. He had an injury too, and it seemed like he had a hitch in his shot for most of the season. The only time he played well was in that Christmas game against Boston. Jared McCain will be back. Hopefully Quentin Grimes re-signs at some point. VJ Edgecombe is going to get his opportunity. Trendon Watford was an underrated pickup, and they also got other underrated guys like Justin Edwards and Adem Bona. When you take Joel Embiid and Paul George out of the equation, they're just in a way better spot to begin the year than they were last season. Obviously, the first part of the equation to having a successful year with them is getting a relatively healthy season from Joel Embiid. The other part for me is just finding a way to be competent without Joel Embiid. Doing that would be huge for them because it turns out since the 2023-24 season, without Joel Embiid, they have a 32-74 record. And also in the 2023-24 season in the NBA playoffs against the New York Knicks, when Joel Embiid was basically on one leg in the 248 minutes with him, they were a plus 46. Meanwhile, in the 45 minutes without him, a negative 46. 7. So is it possible for them to improve in this aspect? Well, I think it's all down to if Tyrese Maxey can reach another level. Early in the video, I mentioned he had a down season. However, there was a stretch where he showcased that there is another level to him, but he has been struggling to maintain this consistency in terms of impact throughout the last 2 years. He's been thrusted with the most responsibility of his NBA career with James Harden leaving, and with Joel Embiid next to him, he's been able to rise to the occasion and be the 1B option. However, in lineups without him, he hasn't been able to be that consistent floor raiser to win minutes. Except last season from January 1st to February 9th, he was averaging 30.6 points per game, 7 assists per game, doing it efficiently, 47.9% from the field and 35% from 3 on high volume. On top of that, he was an impactful player. They had a negative 3.3 net rating with him on the floor. Meanwhile, without him, negative 13.4. This was without Joel Embiid. Listen to the most played lineup that he was in during this stretch. Justin Edwards, Eric Gordon, Yabu, and Kelly Oubre. You got some quality rotational players in there, but most of them you can make a case on a championship team, they are bench players. They also had wins against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They played the Knicks very tight the one game. Same goes for the Denver Nuggets. Boston Celtics as well. They blew out the Lakers and the Kings. Most of this stretch, Maxey was without Paul George, and even when he was healthy, Paul George was a shell of himself. And although it wasn't a long stretch of games and eventually he himself got hurt, during that period, he was having a true superstar level impact. If the Sixers get that version of Tyrese Maxey more often next year, which I think they will, because what he experienced last season was being the guy. And that really started in the 2023-24 season. He got like half the season because Embiid was healthy in the beginning of the year. And then pretty much all of last year, he was in that situation. So now it's like he's had a full season of experiencing being the guy. Defense is preparing for him. He knows what's coming. And I think now he's ready to take that next step. As of before, he just wasn't, because it was the first time experiencing that type of defense and attention towards him. Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain, and also just getting a better version of Paul George, are the keys to being successful without Joel Embiid on the court and without him whenever he's hurt. I think that's the key for the Sixers next season. Can we be competent without Joel Embiid? Because then it's actually worth talking about what if the Sixers stay healthy. But until they figure that out, there's no point of even asking what if Joel Embiid stays healthy, because as you saw in the Knicks series, it didn't matter. He was on the court and he was having a great impact, and the Sixers still ended up losing because they were dysfunctional in the minutes without him. That's what they need to fix, and I believe they're in a much better situation to do so than the beginning of last season. That's the hope. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments section.